A love spell turned the family's life into hell. If only a woman in love knew that she would have to pay for love magic with children's lives. Welcome to Psychic Investigations, a channel of true investigations where people who call themselves psychics investigate paranormal phenomena and tangled criminal cases. Today's story is about an eerie series of children's deaths in a family. It all started after two famous clairvoyants, Olena Kurilova and Rubina Cybulska, were on their way out of a hotel in one of the western Ukrainian towns.
Alina, look. There's a dead girl over there. She's holding something in her hands. It's fire. She's saying something. Help me, help me. She was murdered, and her sister is going to be murdered soon, too. She says she won't let me go until I help her. Let me check it with my mirror. Oh my God. Ooh.
It's terrifying. The clairvoyant almost fainted. What did she see in there?
Darkness. I follow a path. And then I hear a child crying. I turn towards the crying and see something like a cell or a dungeon in front of me. There are 3 girls inside. I understand I have to save them. A woman emerged in front of me. She said, "Don't touch them, they were sold to me."
I don't get it. Is it some kind of child slavery?
I don't know.
Rubina Cybulska's temperature suddenly rose. She was taken to her room, where a doctor could examine her. Meanwhile, Olena Kurilova decided to work on the site where her colleague had seen the girl's spirit.
I see the girl. She's little and fair-haired. She's holding some kind of cup or bowl in her hands. And in it, there's something burning. A prayer. It's written in Arabic. I've seen Hayal use a similar bowl.
Olena Kurilova called the Azerbaijani clairvoyant.
It sounds like an ancient Muslim ritual that I personally use to summon spirits. However, a child can't carry out such a complicated ritual on their own.
I need your help.
Hayal Alekperov agreed immediately. On his way there, he decided to tune in to check on the dead girl and her death.
My jinns are telling me, don't be afraid of her who looks into the lake full of chimeras. She's innocent.
Back then, we couldn't even imagine what the psychic's vision meant, and how all this story would end.
Hello, Olena. How's Rubina?
The doctors gave her an injection and she's sleeping.
Show me where you saw the dead girl.
She was here, right at this place.
Her name is Ksenia. She says she will show me where I can find out about her murder.
The psychic went to the neighboring street, where he stopped in front of one of the apartment buildings.
The girl's spirit is pointing at the window of that apartment on the 1st floor.
Hello?
My name's Hayal.
Svetlana.
I see you're quite surprised.
Yes, I am surprised.
A girl's spirit brought us to your apartment. She's about 7 or 8. Her name is Ksenia. Do you know who it could be?
It's my daughter.
Did your daughter die? When did it happen?
2 months ago. She had problems with her heart.
I couldn't get it. If the girl's heart stopped, then why did she claim she'd been murdered and her sister was going to be murdered soon too?
Svetlana invited the psychics in her late daughter's room.
The book is telling me that your daughter died because of her big heart. What could it mean?
Her heart was enlarged and she needed transplantation. The left ventricle didn't work. Only the right one was working in her heart. It was so.
It turned out that the Ukrainian media even wrote a story about Ksenia's mysterious ailment. There, she was literally called the big-hearted girl, as the 7-year-old schoolgirl's heart suddenly grew 4 times within just a month.
Everyone was shocked and nobody could do anything. It was a terrible disease. Ksenia was a very energetic girl. She loved dancing and did acrobatics.
The book says that your daughter was supposed to get help in the land of elephants. What does this mean?
We were supposed to go to India to have the transplantation surgery there. When we only learned she needed the transplantation, she could still breathe herself. She was on a drip, but she still played and drew. Then we found a medical centre in India. They sent us documents confirming they were ready to admit use.
The parents were informed that the price of the surgery would be $100,000. The entire Ukraine participated in the campaign to raise funds for the girl.
I calmed down a little. Everyone put up with the fact that she'd undergo the surgery. Everything was going pretty well. After she woke up that morning, she was waiting for her dad, who was supposed to bring her a cake.
I feel that your daughter was reanimated several times.
Yes. The doctor said her heart had stopped 4 times, but he'd still managed to get it going. But on the 5th try, he could do nothing. Half an hour later, her heart stopped beating. This is how it ended.
I have a feeling that the reason for Ksenia's death wasn't purely medical. Some kind of otherworldly force had been hunting her. And before she died, she saw and felt it.
Not long before Ksenia died, she indeed began seeing a strange silhouette in her room.
3 months before it happened, she began crying bitterly at nights. Once the clock struck 12, she started crying. She woke up and, crying, tried to run somewhere.
The girl ran into her mom's bedroom and was so horrified that she couldn't even explain who she'd seen.
It was terrible. I thought we'd go to the church to attend the communion service. I thought it could help her.
However, the mother didn't have a chance to take her daughter to the church. Ksenia was admitted to the hospital, so Svetlana decided to go to the church and place a candle for her daughter's health.
But the candles fell to the floor from the candle holder. I was terribly shocked.
Svetlana says it was then that she realized that some evil spirit wanted to take her daughter to the other world.
Your daughter has returned to save her sister, Ivanka. I feel something terrible has been happening to her recently.
Recently, Ivanka, who is a year older than Ksenia, has also begun seeing somebody's shadow in her room. After that happens, the girl starts suffocating.
After I take her to my bed, she feels better and can sleep.
Doctors can't explain the reason behind Ivanka's strange fits of suffocation, and her mother fears she can lose her second daughter too.
Ivanka is the only child I have left. We fear so much to even think of the possibility of losing her. It's terribly hard.
Especially given that, lately, the mother has had the recurring dream of burying Ivanka.
I was afraid to tell anybody of this dream because you can't even describe how awful it is. We don't know what to do and where to go.
Svetlana, your daughter's spirit is here. She's smiling. And there are dimples on her cheeks. She's holding your hand.
She says, I come to visit you at night and put my hand on your face.
When I wake up, I have a feeling that she's next to me.
After little Ksenia died, she wishes to protect Ivanka from the murderous, otherworldly spirit.
The sisters shared the bedroom and attended the same school. They both did gymnastics and were inseparable. Their mother says it took her a while before she found the courage to tell Ivanka her sister was no more.
We didn't tell her. And only when I was back home after the funeral, Ivanka asked me, "Where's Ksenia?" I told her, "Do you know who angels are?" She said, "Yes, they live next to God in the heaven." And I told her, "Well, our Ksenia is also an angel now."
My jinns say the force that killed your daughter is related to a woman and a strange ritual she carried out.
At that moment, Rubina Tsibulska called the psychics and told them she knew the name of the woman who was hunting Svetlana's daughters.
Hello?
My mother's spirit visited me. She told me I had to look for a woman named Nina. She's dead. It's her who's hunting the children. And then Mom showed me the number, 25.
Who is Nina?
My mother.
Is your mother alive?
Yes.
Then who is Nina that died? Whose spirit is that?
I don't know.
Rubina's mother also showed her the number 25.
What was the date of Ksenia's death?
March 25th.
Svetlana, hold on. My jinns are telling me that the evil spirit visited you on that date.
It was also the day when my elder daughter, Nadia, drowned. 11 years ago, on March 25th, my girl drowned. She went to play with a boy and drowned in a pond.
Svetlana and her family lived in a house outside the town. There was a little pond on the house's grounds. It was where they found the body of 4-year-old Nadia.
My husband ran to pull her out. We tried to bring her back to life, but we didn't succeed.
Svetlana says that her little girl died within minutes, while she herself went inside to make sandwiches for the children.
Wait up. Ivanka almost drowned in that pond, too.
Yes, she fell in the water.
You saved Ivanka from death at the last moment.
I tried.
Was it like something dragged her in?
Yes.
What date was it?
March 25th.
Hayal, the 25th again?
It can't be. What kind of date is that? And why did Ivanka almost die, like both of her sisters, on March 25th?
I have a feeling that the grounds of the house you used to live in are literally soaked with necrotic energy.
In an hour, the psychics and Svetlana are in the village where the family used to live. Currently, the house stands empty. The pond has dried out and overgrown with grass. However, Svetlana still can't bear to look at this place.
This is the pond. In it, my eldest daughter drowned. It's so hard.
It's a great grief to lose 2 children.
I don't know what could take her here. She'd never approached it before. She didn't even know the path that led here.
A woman's spirit brought her here. First, she took Nadia's life, and then Ksenia's. I see a dark-haired woman. She's shouting out something that sounds like a curse. She says, if the children come here, they'll die.
Look at this wind.
It's unbelievable. No sooner had the psychics said something about the woman than the powerful wind rose. Could it be somehow related to the evil force that's been hunting the children?
Who is this woman?
She was our neighbor. We often had disagreements about the garden's boundary. She lived in this house.
Svetlana says the pond was on the boundary right between both estates, and the neighbor forbade anyone to approach it. She even threatened that otherwise their children would die.
We always fought over the boundary. She said, "Don't even approach here. It's my garden. That's it."
But after she died, you didn't abide. You used the pond and took water from it.
Yes.
I feel that your neighbor had magical abilities.
People feared her, claiming she was a witch.
The evil force lived in this pond. Your neighbor was the one who bound it to this place.
Some kind of negative energy was dumped in it.
And after that, Nadia died here, and Ivanka almost died.
Incredible. Is the dead neighbor the murderous woman who carried out the ritual and who the psychics have been looking for?
At that moment, I saw the neighbor standing in front of the pond, which was crawling with a huge number of spirits. She was holding a candle and whispering something. But it wasn't a spell, but a prayer. The woman was sealing the spirits in the water. What was the woman's name?
Hannah.
But we were supposed to find the dead woman named Nina. Could it be a mistake? Don't be afraid of her who looks into the lake full of chimeras. She's innocent. Does it mean she's not the murderer? But why was the pond full of evil spirits that got there because of her?
That she was said to help people.
I know that many people arrived to see her.
The woman dumped all the negative energy from sick children into the pond, while her words that nobody could approach the pond weren't curses. It was a warning. I feel that right before she died. This woman sealed the pond. This is why there's no trace left of it.
But I don't understand whose spirit has been murdering your daughters. And why would it do it? Olena, let's go inside, quick. Xenia's spirit is standing here. Little Nadia is with her, and Xenia's holding another girl in her hands. It's a little baby.
One little coffin. 2, 3. 3 coffins. Who's the third?
I had another daughter, Olia. She was 7 months old.
So you had another daughter who died?
Yes.
What a spine-chilling story. Being only 36, this poor woman has already buried 3 daughters.
The youngest girl, she was 7 months old, got ill too. She had a bad cough. It was so strong that she suffocated. She was diagnosed with pneumonia. We went to the hospital. We spent a month there, and she seemed to have recovered and was fine, so we were discharged and could go home.
However, once the woman returned home with her daughter, the girl died. Little Olya's heart stopped.
I don't even remember the day when we came back home. I can't recall a thing, as we were all deeply shocked.
But I have a feeling that the girl died on the other date.
Yes.
Little Olya died 3 months after Nadia's demise, on June 30th. The mother says she doesn't even remember how that year passed.
I don't know how that year passed. It was like the time stopped for me. It was hard.
Does it mean it's got nothing to do with the date? Was it an awful coincidence? Svetlana, your daughter's spirit says we must visit her grave. There, we'll see who murdered Xenia and her sisters.
15 minutes later, the psychics and Svetlana are at the graveyard. Rubina Tsibulska feels better now, so she's joined her colleagues.
At the girls' graves, I saw the woman that I'd felt at the beginning of the investigation. This woman saying that her name is Nina, and she's saying the phrase, "I took what belongs to me."
Xenia's spirit is telling me that the woman was lonely and had no children while she was alive. And she and her sisters served as a recompense for the ritual that had been carried out on this woman's grave.
They were taken because of the magic of love. I see a young woman. She goes to a sorceress and says, "I love him. Make him be mine and nobody else's."
Svetlana, have you ever asked a sorceress to help you with your love life?
I haven't. I've never asked anybody to bring me love.
The sorceress says, "Go and don't worry, I will do it. I'll do it myself." Then she carried out the ritual at the graveyard. There are many ways to cast a love spell. One of such rituals is carried out at a graveyard. A sorceress uses it to ask a dead woman's spirit for love for her client.
When a love spell is put on a man to make him love a woman, The sorceress must find the grave of a woman with the same name as the woman who's ordered the ritual. Therefore, if the dead woman's spirit's name is Nina, then the client was also Nina.
The only Nina I know is my mother.
Svetlana, did your mother ask a sorceress for a love spell?
She indeed went to a sorceress once. That woman was a foreigner?
The sorceress promised Svetlana's mother love, but didn't warn her she would have to pay for it.
And now, the woman's spirit is taking what she lacked while she was alive. Children.
I don't believe it. I can't believe it.
Wait. I see a crescent on the sorceress' neck. The neighbor who helped your mother was a Muslim.
She could be a Muslim. She adhered to a different faith.
That sorceress carried out the same ritual for summoning spirits as I do, through fire.
Then I realized why Ksenia's spirit was holding a burning prayer in her hands.
I'm going to try to break up the contract, so at least Ivanka is well. Now your daughter's spirits are free. Ksenia says, "Mom, I have to go now."
Forgive me that I couldn't help you. Farewell, Ksenia. Thank you so much for your help. We'll hope we'll be all right.
How terrible it is, so many children's deaths in the same family, and the reason for all of them was magic. If only the poor woman's mother had known about the consequences of the magical rituals, these events could have probably been avoided. If you're impressed by this story, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. More exciting stories are yet to come.